All right, welcome, Tom. Thanks for being here. Welcome, just checking things out, making sure the screen is good and all the stuff that we're doing is right. Good to see you. And doing my final post to my group to see who else is coming. I had 9 people confirmed, so let's find out how many will really show up. Where are you calling from, Tom? How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm coming from Redondo Beach, California, actually.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah,
You're
it's the
probably
only part that we're not burning,
You're
luckily.
not, you're not burning. Yeah, my friend worked
No.
at SpaceX and he said it's been rough. He said it
Yeah.
a couple
Yeah,
times.
luckily we're about 30 miles away and we smell some stuff here and there, but there's nothing to burn in our neighborhood, thank God. But
Thank
yeah,
God.
it's
Yeah.
been terrible, it really has.
Wow. You've
Are
been in.
you where are you at?
I'm in right now. I'm in Richmond, Indiana, and I spent time between Richmond and Cincinnati, Ohio. So we're Midwest.
Oh, neat.
Cold.
Hey, I'm a Midwestern guy originally. I lived in Michigan for 39 years, so I'm real familiar.
Well,
Um,
where in Michigan? Tell me, because I lived there 25 years. Where?
Is that right? Well, I was born in Detroit, but I lived on the east side, and I ended up moving to Oakland Township or Oakland County. My office and my business was in Troy, Michigan. Actually, I don't know if you're
Okay.
familiar with
I
Troy,
know where
and
Troy is. Yeah.
yeah,
I know
I
exactly where Troy is, was GM and Ford. GM mostly when I used to visit them, but I worked in Dearborn at Henry Ford Company
oh
for a long
oh,
time. Yeah.
is that right? Okay, yeah, it's a little across town, but yeah, still the same. 20 years, you said? Wow.
Yeah, 98 to 2015 when I moved to Cincinnati. Yeah.
Oh,
So
neat. I moved to California in 99. I've been here for 25 years and glad I did because I'd never be able to afford to live here now. But
I bet. Yeah.
yeah,
He's working at
I'll tell you.
SpaceX. He makes decent money, but I was just kind of getting deeper with him, see where he's at with his finance. And he's like, man, my mortgage is $6,500. I'm like, what? What you got going on? So, we talk about prices and his house and
Honestly, you can't buy a house in Redondo Beach for less than $9,000 a month right now. I'm
Mm.
not kidding. And I don't understand where people are still doing it. I don't know where they're getting that kind of money.
Yeah.
But
They either have to live together in, few homes, like few small places, or share or be in debt for a long time and never really plan to pay it off because you're not going to make that money working. So
yeah, no kidding, no kidding. So, are we? Is it just the two of us tonight? I'm really surprised, man, because you do a really nice job. I'm telling you, man, you're really consistent, and you send out really good stuff, and you look really credible. I'm surprised this room isn't filled tonight. Actually, it's disturbing to me because that's telling me how difficult it is to do well out there. Okay, when you're as good as Kamal is, and you still, it's hard to fill a room like that. That upsets me, because like I said, you do a really nice job, and what the
thank you.
heck? And,
Thank
well,
you.
no, it's true. I
It,
call them the way I see them, man.
Thank
And
you. Yeah, I mean, I had 9 people confirmed, and I messaged them, and they said they're showing up. But DK is here, and thank you for that. And
yeah,
it's
no, it's
that
okay.
people are just busy, Tom. Like they're just busy with nonsense, and there's so much out there now, and it's so easy to do lives and do that. And I used to do these events, and then I stopped for a while because I was just getting just clients from LinkedIn and referrals. But my mentor, he said, no, just keep doing this 3 day stuff. Get people to come and know you. Just do it, even if it's nobody shows up. Just do it. Get better. And we're just gonna do that once a month. And whoever shows up from LinkedIn and like last week, I had two clients sign up with they just wanted the stuff because they need the help. People need to get out of the misery that they're in, and they spend years. And once I figured out how to do that, and I'm just in love with the material. And so, yeah, I now it's just a matter of what can we do? How can we attract? How we can get people to hear the message and make it resonate, make them stop because people are so busy. Welcome, DK. Good to see you, my friend. You can unmic. It's all good. You seem that in a shadow. Looks like you're a ghost. I don't know if that's what you see, Tom, but DK looks like it's a ghost.
It's the
Oh
bad lighting in
yeah,
my car. This lighting, it fires down and it gets none of it gets to my face. That's why kind of why it looks like that. Maybe if I cut the background.
Okay, that's cool. You're good. Be safe, my friend. Be safe. So yeah, I have something very special. My plan is to spend with you, Tom and DK, and whoever the other eight people are going to show up. Actually, there's 10 with DK. Is to really give you a piece of what I did to help me grow, right? So I call it focus, I call it leadership, I call it like that next level where we all want to have a bit more of life, a bit more of joy, a bit more of fun. So how do we do that? How do we go about, making it happen? Because after I spent maybe it's the first 3 years with Bob Proctor, I finally understood that it's not by hard work. Even though he said that from day one. Even though Napoleon Hill said in his famous book, Think and Grow Rich, it's not by hard
yeah.
work. If you think you're gonna get wealthy by hard work, he said, perish the thought. It's not hard work. And of course you don't believe it. But then I looked at my grandparents, looked at my parents. I'm an immigrant from Lebanon, came to Canada, jumped on a boat and did all kind of stuff to get to where I am now. And it's really not hard work. But I can look back and I see some of my friends, some of my colleagues are still working so hard. And they are where I was 25, 30 years ago because they haven't switched. They haven't decided to invest in themselves, grow their mindset, and kind of get a different ideology on what life is all about. It's not just about work and you're putting in 10, 12 hours in a job or there's more to it. You got to do it differently. So once I learned that, things started to change. My investment started to grow. My relationship started to grow. My feelings of how I feel about me started to grow. And I just keep getting deeper into the material. I'm going to share with you tonight few things as to what I did and what I do every day and how I help people. And hopefully, this is going to help you. By the end of the 3 days, if you stick around and if you pay attention, you will have everything access to most of the material that I have. And you basically don't need me. You just need to do the work. You just need to be disciplined enough and have the persistence and the desire to do it. Now, most of my thing is I want to give you everything for free, but I want to help you with the implementation because the material is available. You can go online, you can
No
find
question.
everything. John Maxwell, Bob Proctor, John DeMartini, all these amazing people. But it's not about information. And once I clicked that it's not intellectual, it took me 5 degrees, Tom and DK, to really wake up. 5 degrees. I was like, I was jumping from one country to another to get a better promotion, one job to another to get a different feel of excitement. I had 5 degrees, five, six certificates, and then I wasn't still satisfied. So until I kind of finally, okay, it's not that. It's something different. So that's what I'm going to share with you. The information is available, and now I got to get you to start implementing it in a way that makes it easy. If you know how to ride a bicycle or a motorcycle, you just ride it with ease. I ride motorcycles, I ride bicycles. You just ride. There's no hardship. You just ride it. And that's how life should be. We should just ride it. It should flow. And if it's not flowing, it's because you're not aligned with your values. You're not aligned with what you are really intending yourself to do. And that's what I got to get you to rethink. And this is what I give my prospects, my clients, all the information they need. And then I help them implement it because implementing it with ease is really where the money is. So the three things that we're going to work on is basically how you can focus to have this self shift, how you can focus so you can have this mind shift, and how you can focus to have this result shift. So it's like self, mind, and result. Where are you now? Where is your mind at? I'm going to teach you a bit about the mind and then some results. Some people, DK and Tom, will spend most of their life. And I tell you a story. A friend of mine, he writes my motorcycle club. He worked for 37 years for this beautiful community in Cincinnati where they help the people that are on the streets, and he goes out and gives them food and gets them out of the cold. 37 years.
Wow.
And he just retired last year. And unfortunately, his results, his mindset on income is not where it needs to be. He still has to get a part-time job after his 37 career to pay his stuff, to go on a $2,000 weekend event with a motorcycling club that we go on. I'm like, how is that possible? Well, the reason it is because he hasn't shifted. He hasn't shifted his thinking. He hasn't shifted his value. He loves his work. He loves serving. He loves being, in this company for a long time. But his income is not where he wants it to be, and he couldn't change it. So now, unfortunately, he's mid 60s, 66, 67, and he has to work at Kroger. He has to work at Myers. I think he's switching between both of them to make ends meet in the richest country in the world. Like, I'm Lebanese. I came from Lebanon. Exactly what's happening, in Gaza and Israel. Lebanon was like that in 1990.
Yep.
And how could we have somebody, American, born here, first language is English. My English is the third language. And I'm like 1,000 times standard of living better. We're all equal. But in terms of income, in terms of situation, in terms of assets, how could that be? It's not the degrees. It's the way I'm thinking. It's the way I'm being mentored, the way I'm positioning myself. And so now I'm working with him to help him really change and start having some different income so that he doesn't have to work. The guy is 66 and a half. Like, you don't want to, you could be working for fun, but to work to make ends meet is not right in the richest country in the world. So when I learned that from Bob Proctor, when I saw that message from Bob Proctor, and I don't know if you know him, he's the
Oh yeah, I know.
one
Wow.
influential in the world. He's passed away. I worked with him for 6, 7 years. What attracted me to him was this one line on his website where he said, "Tell me what you want and I'll help you get it. Tell me what you want and I'll help you get it." I'm like, wow. So then I got onto this call back and forth, and then he's like, if what you want is your annual income in a month, you can have it. I'm like, how is that annual income in a month? If you're making 50, 60, 70, 80,000, you start making that in a month, there's like woo, different thinking. Like, I had 4 degrees at the time. I was working on my MBA because that's what I think. I think I need an MBA to get promoted. I think I need a degree to move up the ranks in the employee. And he said, "It's not degrees, Kamal." I said, "Well, I'm in my MBA. I got to finish. I'm not a quitter." He said, "It's not the degrees. Do you want your annual income in a month?" And I said, "Well, it sounds sexy. It sounds really good. I just don't believe it." Well, he said, "Well, you got to stop it right there." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You got to believe it." I said, "Why do I have to believe it? I just want it." He said, "No, your beliefs creates the fact."
No doubt.
I was like, "What do you mean?"
Absolutely.
He goes, "Your beliefs creates the fact." And then of course, he's Bob Proctor. If you know him, he's always waving the Think and Grow Rich thing. I've been reading it every day. He reads it every day. It's like his second Bible, right? And he's like, "Go and read the faith chapter." The faith chapter. Read the faith chapter. How to develop faith. Have you read this book?
Oh yeah. Hey, sum it up. I believe it when I see it, or I'll see it when I believe it. Okay, that's what it comes down to. So yes, I'm really in tune to all of those things that you're talking about, Bob Proctor and Tony
Yeah.
Robbins. I've been listening to Tony Robbins for 40 years. So
Mhm.
yeah, I love all those guys, man. So I love the concept. Keep going. You're good
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. It's amazing. I believe it, I can see it, but this is Tom and DK. This is like the doubting Thomas. Now I'm Christian, and I know who the doubting Thomas is. He had to put his finger in the womb, right, to really believe it. If you have to touch it to believe it, that's not belief.
No question.
If you
No
have to,
question.
if you have to see it in front of you to make it, he said, that's not belief. That's too
That's
late.
right.
So he said,
It's
no,
too
you
late.
have to believe it before. I'm like, well, how do I do that? He said, Kamal, be first. Be what you want. So if you want your annual income in a month, if you want to be happy, you're not going to be happy by doing things. You just have to be happy first. Okay. If you want to meet interesting people, be interesting. If you want to meet funny people, be funny. If you want to have a relationship, start having a good relationship with yourself first. I'm like, oh my God, what is he going with this? Of course, I come from a religious family. My brother is a priest. I have uncles. I have sisters, second cousins who are nuns. It's like, what is he talking about? I actually had to go to honestly, to ask my brother, and is this for real? Is this okay against my religion? Like, does this really work? Am I disobeying the laws of God? Because I'm programmed as a Christian. So, I mean, you could be, or you could be not.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm a
like, I
Christian
don't
as
want to go
well.
to hell. The nuns told me, you'll go to hell if you worship other gods. If you do say different things. And they said, no, it's all good. Actually, Bob Proctor used to preach a lot about Christianity back in the 60s and 70s and early 80s.
Oh,
And then
wow.
he started switching his language to move religion out. And he went onto these three things. And I'm going to share with you what he did. He took out the religion part or Christ and he went into we are just part of a spirit. So we are a child of God. Like we are, I don't know what your religion is, but God created the universe and then he created us as an image of him. And our job is to create. So there's spirit and there's a physical. We're in the physical. We're living in the physical realm. And spirit is in the spiritual realm. And our job is to help him create. And we live in this big one. But Tom and DK, we have this intellect in between. And I'm like, what's this intellect? He said, your intellect is how you learn. Your intellect is you take information and you think you're getting somewhere. I said, yeah, I took my information, I passed my degree, I got an engineering degree. I passed my second degree, I got a
Hey,
promotion.
hey, 1 second.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. So he said, it's just information. He said, you got to stop collecting information because it's all in your intellect. And I said, well, what am I supposed to do? He said, you got to reprogram your mind. How do I reprogram my mind? He said, you got to reprogram your mind. Your subconscious is what's driving your results. He said, we have thoughts, feelings, and actions. So that's when I started getting excited about it. Then I said, okay, what do I do next? He said, well, Kamal, if you really want me to help you, you got to sign up with me and I'll teach you. So I eventually signed up with him. The money showed up. Boom, boom, boom. And I started studying. So I fell in love with the material. It took me, DK and Tom, 7.5 months to achieve my first goal, which was about 50% increase in my income. I did not go for 100% because I'm so stupid. Because I was too scared. I was like, how can I double my income? How can I actually say I want my income in a month, like my annual? So I just said, I just want to have 50% more. And that's what I got. So as an engineer, right, making in the 105,000, I got 50% more in the 7.5 months. Now, some people that were with me, they got double that. They got 200% of that. For me, it was just that. Everybody's different. So that's when I started believing it. And some people got it even faster because they accepted the idea. So then I said, why is this taking me so long? He said, because you're resisting the idea, Kamal. I'm like, I'm resisting my idea. How could I be resisting my idea? I want the money. I want the increase in wealth. I want the increase in, I'm not resisting it. He goes, no, you are. You don't even know that you are. So here's how it is, Tom. Our subconscious mind is driving our results. So he said, if you look at your bank account, if you look at what you have in your wallet, if you look at your balance, that's not you intellectually. Your subconscious got you this result. Whatever money that you have in your pocket, in your bank, you're running on automatic.
It's the result of your actions.
Correct. Results. Thank you. Thank you very much. So he said we have thoughts, we have feelings, and the feeling, you got to get emotionally involved with it, which is going to give you guidance, use the creative principle to take action. And the action drives the results. And that's why it took me 7.5 months to get my first freaking manifestation studying with the number one in the world. Like, I mean, there's Tony Robbins, John DeMartini, Bob Proctor. When I started 7, 8 years ago on this, I mean, these are the top three people. John DeMartini is still my friend. He's a pretty cool guy. He lives on a big boat. Very nice.
Wow.
Actually,
Neat.
DK knows him as well. He's like big, one not boat, one of those like shipping cruises. Because when COVID hit, some of these billionaires, they did not want to be on the land because they didn't know what was going to happen.
Sure.
So each one of them paid $5 million to be on this big cruise ship. And there's, I think, 30 of them on this nice cruise ship. And they just traveled the world on
Is
the,
that right?
I'm
Wow.
serious.
That's
They wanted to get
that's
away from the population because they had no idea what kind of disease bug is going to happen. So they
sure.
disconnected from the land. And this guy, John DeMartini, he's a friend of mine. we meet on an occasion, and we did a webinar together. We did an interview together. It's pretty cool. Very, very smart. He's a teacher and philosopher. So he said, thoughts, feelings, and action. All you have to do is just think of what you want, get emotionally engaged with it, and take the action. But you have to persist. You have to persist, and you have to believe it. Belief creates the facts. I'm going to share with you tonight a little bit about the self shift as to what drives you. What's it going to be the thing that you would do without even getting paid for? Like, what's waking you up at 3 o'clock in the morning? When was the last time you woke up in sweat because you're so excited about going for the relationship or going for the business or working on your thing?
A lot, actually. I got some really great stuff going on right now. I couldn't be more excited about my
That's
future
so cool.
business-wise.
That is
Seriously,
amazing.
but I've been working on it for 30 years. There was no magic to this, okay? It's a process, and I'm waking up today. Anyhow, I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm really excited, and I agree with that. If you're excited, shit happens. Sorry, don't mean to talk like
That's
that, but
right. If
it,
you're
it
excited,
does,
you're
man,
making it. So he told me to
completely.
come out. All you have to do, and I think I mentioned that to DK because DK was a client of mine and now he's coming back to the business builders. He said, fall in love with what you do and you never work another day in your life.
Oh, completely, man. I so believe that, man. That absolutely. And I've lived it, man. I work 16-hour days and love every minute of it, honestly. I'm
You know, the guy,
creating and I'm creating and yeah, new stuff. So yes, I keep going. I like what you're saying, but I agree with you 100%.
so I'm like, well, how do I do that? He said, you have to be totally relaxed. This is not by force. Force negates. Bob was very quick on words. He said, force negates. You have to demand it, but not by force. You have to kind of fall in love with the idea and get the creative mechanism that we have to work for you, to give you the intuitive idea what's the next action to take. Like, I have a lot of things to do, but what do I do next? You know, your business is flourishing, doing things, but what is the next step? You're here and you want to go there. You can go in many different ways, but what's the next step? We can only take one action at a time. We can only delegate one thing at a time. What's the next step? He said that's where you can learn your creative process, your creative mechanism to tell you what's next. Now, that creative mechanism is God speaking to you, Spirit telling you what to do. And you have to learn how to get on it. I said, well, Bob, it's taken me 7.5 months to just get 50%. I want to, I'm too scared to go more.
Real quick, what was your business then? And what was the increase and what were you selling?
So no, I was an employee as an engineer, as a senior engineer, and I wanted an increase in income. I wanted like, 50%
And
more
you worked for another company, and how did you get them to increase your wages by 50%?
because I moved my value. I moved my value up and I took the confidence and the belief to get the confidence to say, you know what? I'm going to make two projects happen. I'm going to have less cost on the waste that we're producing. This was a steel plant up in Rouge Steel, up in Dearborn, Michigan.
I know Roost Steel. Too
Yeah.
funny.
And
Okay,
then,
hey, I was
and
just curious on how that happened. If you
yeah,
were
and then I said,
self-employed or if you
no, I
weren't
was employee.
self-employed.
I was employee. And I said, this is
Okay.
what's my worth now. I've saved you millions of dollars forever. I'm wanting at least 50% more. So they came back with 158,000 from the 105, 106.
Oh,
Like,
is that right?
yeah,
Wow.
and so that was, but took 7.5 months of making these projects. Now, I look back and I said, man, I should have dreamt more. I should have imagined bigger, but it's too scary. Because you
Hey, and now it might be scary, but there's also only so much you can do when when somebody else is making those decisions on your behalf. I mean,
correct.
honestly,
Honest.
I would be frankly 7.5 months to do what you did. I
Oh,
think that's freaking amazing, man. Okay, I'm sorry, and I live in the real world, and that I agree. I mean, I agree. You should ask for 100, but what you accomplished there in a job that you got them to pay you that much more money by your actions, that's huge. Okay. I'm sorry, but that
thank
is
you.
okay. Because
Yeah, and
companies don't give out those kind of increases just like that. Okay. It's got to be warranted. Okay. Keep going. I'm sorry to interrupt.
that is so true because there's ranks and there's position and there's a lower limit and an upper limit and they have all these excuses. But you just have to raise your value. He said, make yourself so valuable that they can't get rid of you. Make yourself so important that they will pay you to stay. They will give you the bonus. They will give you the raise. They will give you the promotion to make you do. Because most companies, DK and Tom, for those top executives, the top leaders, the companies don't know what these leaders do. They have no idea. Otherwise, they will clone them. You know, if you have a top producer in your company, you'd clone them if you know what to do. But they don't know what to do. They don't know why they execute so well. They don't know why they show up. And this is what Bob was teaching me: self shift, mind shift. So I started learning about the mind. Of course, you know, Bob broke down the mind in a very simplistic way, almost like cartoonist. And I'll show you a couple of pictures here on the iPad. And I started learning it. And he said, you just got to believe it. You just got to believe it. You got to believe it. You got to redo this programming. He said, Kamal, you have imprinted programming from your childhood. Now, I was born in Lebanon. In Lebanon, for the first 15 years of my life, tough, no money, no food, standing in line for bread, standing in line to get chickpeas, waiting for the boat to come for days until we get some bag of stuff. There was 8 of us in the family, and I had to go to the butcher once a week to get 200 grams, in Lebanon it's metric, 200 grams of meat for people, 8 of us. And I didn't even have the money. We had to actually sign a piece of paper for the butcher to say, hey, we're going to pay you this in a month because we don't have the money. So it was poor. So I'm raised with a very poor mindset.
Mindset, absolutely. And it impacts your life, man. I don't care what anybody. First 7 years of somebody's life are huge.
Yeah.
Sorry. They are. Go ahead.
So
Yeah, that's good that you overcame that, obviously. It's huge.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's
Well, you know, immigrant mentality, though. I mean, honestly, you came here and you saw the world as your oyster. Okay, this is a whole different place here
yeah.
than where you came from. And so, but you're right. There's still a shift that has to take place because it's ingrained. I got it.
It's ingrained. And he said these first 7 years, you're just born poor. You're thinking poor. Your mom taught you poor stuff, and they love you. They just don't know any better. And he said, you're gonna have to change it. You have to start increasing your self-worth. He said, for you to start making 200, 300, 400,000, you have to move your self-worth. I said, how do I do that? He said, well, do you treat yourself nice? I said, well, yeah, I mean, I buy shoes. What kind of shoes? Well, this kind of shoes. Well, how much are they? Well, 70, 80 bucks. He said, come on. There are pairs of shoes for $300, $400. There's a mattress that you can buy for $3,000. You're gonna be rested on it. You have to move your self-worth. He said, everything has to matter. The way you look, the way you speak, the way you show up. What you do when nobody's watching is more important than what you do when somebody else is watching. He said, your self-worth is everything. You got to start treating yourself like a king and a queen all the time, not some of the time. And you got to make it a habit. It's not by force. So, okay, so I started getting rid of stuff, buying new shirts, getting rid of stuff, buying a better car, washing my car, cleaning my house, just getting rid of things that didn't value anymore. And I started moving myself, or I started imagining myself. He said Van Gogh, who is a beautiful artist, he was asked, how do you draw such a beautiful picture? He goes, I imagine my pictures. Then I dream my pictures. Then I paint my dream. He said, what are you painting, Kamal? Because this thing that you have, this phone that you have, you imagined it before and now you have it. You wanted it and now it became real because you went to the store. So what are you imagining for your results? I said, well, I'm at 150. I want to be at 300. He said, that's still not your annual in a month. You're still scared. I said, yeah, I'm still scared. I mean, I was like, we're talking, like we're in a small group. I said, you got to dream big and you got to stop being scared. Okay, easier said than done. Then he said, get a goal card. You're probably familiar with Bob. Get a goal card and put your goal card on this goal and write on it, I am so happy and grateful now that. You write your goal. And you carry this goal card in your pocket. And you put the goal card in your pocket, and every time you touch it, he said it sends a signal up your arm, up into your head, and it reminds you that that's what you want. Now, most people don't even have a goal. So they live their life from place to place, job to job. I mean, they have a goal to survive. And honestly, coming from Lebanon, being so poor, jumping on a boat and leaving and never looking back, I knew there was greatness waiting for me. So I have big goals, big dreams. But people here, you can live without working. You're not going to live a good life. You know,
Right, right.
a good life is expensive. There's another life that's not expensive, but it's not as good. So if you
Sure.
want to have a good life, you better have a goal card. You better have this goal that you really want. Something that wakes you up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Something that makes you work till 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, and then boom. So I started putting this goal card in my pocket, wrote my goal. Took another 7.5 months, almost 8 months, for my next goal to manifest. So the first part was just working on myself. The second part was working on this self-image. Where do I see myself? What do I now? Of course, for 22 years, I'm in the corporate world. So you go from an engineer to area senior engineer to section manager to manager. Now, to get to the 250, 300,000, you have to be a VP, to be a general manager, you have to be a boss of a much bigger plant. And that's all you know. That's all I could think of. Now, of course, I could take my coaching because he said, you're doing really good. You should start charging for all the friends that you're teaching for free. Because I was helping my friends for free. He said, they're not paying you. I said, no, they're not paying me yet. He said, your self-worth is not right yet. You have to raise your self-worth. Well, I wasn't thinking of coaching as a business. My goal card was to get a VP job. So 8 months later, I did not get a VP job. I get a GM job, general manager job. It's like another promotion. But that it didn't even take me to the 250, 300. It took me to 200,000. Okay, so that's another 50,000. But that was by self-worth, self-image. It's like we have an imprint in our mind what we are worth. And for you to start making double the money, 3 times the money, double the health, double the wealth, we have to change this print. It's like your fingerprint. And how do you change it? I said, how do I change it? He said, repetition. I'm like, repetition? What do you mean? He said, yeah. He said, get this chapter, get this book, Think and Grow Rich. Of course, I already had the book. And he said, look at auto suggestion chapter. He said, start reading it
Which
every day for a month.
which chapter, bro?
Chapter 4, auto suggestion. And I said, a whole month. He goes, yes, at least a month. So I started reading it every day, every day. Look, let's look at the first page. Auto suggestion, the medium for influencing the subconscious mind, which is the third step towards riches. I'm like, okay, auto suggestion is a term which applies to all suggestions and all self-administered stimuli, which reaches one's mind through the five senses. So I gotta auto suggest to myself. Auto suggestion is a suggestion from self to self. Stated another way, auto suggestion is a self suggestion. It is the agency of communication between that part of the mind where conscious thought takes place and that which serves as the seat of action for the subconscious mind. Kept reading the auto suggestion chapter until I finally accepted the idea. I'm too stubborn. I'm Lebanese. I'm tough minded. It's like my
Sure.
I mean, I have 2 kids. My daughter, Dad, you're too stubborn. I said, I know, it's not my fault. It's my dad's fault because he's stubborn. We think
It's
we
how
are right.
God made me.
And I think, we could be proud of it and it feels good. But once I
If you're
start
stubborn about the right things.
about the right things, yes.
About the right things completely. Because I know my one of my best friends is from Italy. He lived there most of his life. And sometimes he's as dumb as a rock, but with his stubbornness. And I have to point it out to him that this is not normal behavior. You need to be flexible. And so I got it.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good stuff.
We have to be flexible. We have to, especially when we're listening to somebody that has wisdom and experience. We have to let our ego to the side. The ego is the enemy.
No
And the
doubt.
enemy of progress is not the enemy that it hates you. The ego is keeping you safe. Like you got where you are, Tom, because your ego got you there. And now that you
Sure.
want more, that the DK wants more, your ego is not letting you because it feels safe. You survived. You've accomplished. You feel, I got a car, I got a house, I got a business, I go to games. Okay, but you have bigger dreams. It's not letting you. No, 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 I'm happy here. Keep me here. It doesn't let you move forward until you accept an idea, a new idea. I'm going to be sharing with you a paragraph today that if you truly understand this one paragraph from the first lesson, and I'm going to give it to you for free. If you accept that idea, everything will change for you. Everything will change. Let's see
All
if we
right.
share this iPad and see where we are. So we kind of stay on track. Sharing the iPad, it's connected. Beautiful. So you can see my iPad, right? Perfect.
Sure can.
All right. So today we're going to do self shift. Tomorrow and today we're going to self shift, mind shift, and then the last day we're going to do results and how we can proceed together, right? Like 98% of the people are struggling. Their lives are not where they want to be because they've settled. They don't believe they can do more, and that's why they don't do more. There are a lot of retirees nowadays. There are low income. They're not doing well. Why? Because there's a lot of young people who don't know much about money, who don't know much about growth, who don't know much. They're stuck and they can't figure it out. I was like that. It's not something I've read. This is me. I'm telling you what's happening to me. So I'm going to teach you how you can discover that next level of achievement by just learning about you and the mind. Okay. Um, so what's happening to everybody? They're struggling to complete basic tasks. I'm working with somebody. He's out of California. He's a John Maxwell student for years, but he's not able to command himself what he wants to do. He says, "I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this, and he doesn't do it." It's like self-sabotage. We've all heard of that, right? We've all heard of that, imposter syndrome. What the heck is that? This is when you don't have control because your subconscious, your ego is keeping you stuck. It brings up anything to keep you where you're at. So we're struggling to complete the things that we want. Like we know, Tom, you probably know how to be healthier. You
Of course.
probably most likely do you, right?
Of course. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
basic
What?
stuff, really. It's
Yeah.
common sense, really.
Yeah, but why don't we not do it?
Well, some do. I mean, yeah, no, you're right. I agree. I don't know. You're right. There's a lot of messed up people in the world for sure
Yeah,
that
we
aren't doing.
and messed up is a tough word, but it's more like it's unconsciously there, and we don't know how to get out of it until we wake up. And I'm gonna wake you up. My job is to wake you up. We have a lot of people who think too much about the future or too much about the past. So this is the future, which is not guaranteed to anybody. This is the past. We can't do anything about it, and all we have to do is think about now. We only have now. Most people say, I don't have time, Kamal. How do I have time? How can I have time to run 5 investments between apartments, condominiums, real estate, coaching, business, consulting? How do I do that? But some people can't even do their basic job. We're the same. We're all given 24 hours. Am I just smarter? I'm telling you, I'm not. English is my third language. It's more about like the mind, right? Procrastination. It's a disease. This guy out of California, he just procrastinates. He says, "Come on, I'm going to do it tomorrow." I said, "No, you're not going to. You're going to do it tonight." So I'm getting him to study. We're on day number 5 of a sequence of studying every day. I said, "Okay, you got to do this and this and this, and you got to do it this day." And we're trying to do as many days in sequence, because the whole idea is not doing a lot, is doing less, but giving yourself that command. Not procrastinating on going to the gym, not procrastinating on making the phone call to make the sale, not procrastinating on taking your better half out for a nice dinner, right? Yeah, we'll do it later. Oh, no, you got to do it. You give yourself the command and you follow it. And most people are not able to do that because their old self is in control. And I'm going to teach you how to get back control. Now, a lot of people are struggling with money. They struggle to make ends meet. My friend is, I used to be, I'm blessed now and grateful that I don't even have to work. I just love what I do. But most people spend most of their life unable to, money is running away from them. I was like that in Lebanon. Money was nowhere to be found. And I had to change to accept money, to let money come to me. I was told that money is evil. I was told that the rich people are bad people.
Yeah. That's a tough one to overcome when you're taught that too.
Yeah. I mean, I had to get rid of all that conditioning to invite money to come into my life. Now, here's what I am now, Tom and DK. I love people and I use money, and money just keeps coming. Money just keeps coming. Love people, use money. Don't hold on to your bills. Pay your bills because somebody's working at the electricity plant. Somebody's working at the gas plant. Somebody's working at the gas pump. Somebody's working at the credit card. Pay your bills as soon as you get them. Love people, use money. But most people, money is being chased away from them because they have a poor mindset. Like I said earlier, a lot of retirees are broke because there are a lot of young people who don't understand money. Now, I'm grateful that I've taught that to my 2 year daughters from 6 years ago. They know money. They know how to earn money. They know how to sell. They are comfortable with spending money. They are comfortable with their self worth. And this is a big one, no goals. If you don't have a goal, if you don't have a goal that excites you, you're living a boring life. If you're telling me you're waiting to die, you might as well not live. You might as well not, "Oh, I'm gonna just go and fish all day long and do nothing but fishing." I mean, okay, sounds like fun, but they're just fishing. So you gotta have something exciting. Not exciting to me, not to your daughter or your wife or your husband or your boyfriend, no, to you. Now, most people, DK, in the coaching world and Tom, they will have a goal for their kids. Oh, my goal is to make my kids rich. Oh, what the hell is that? Let them make their own freaking goal. That's their problem.
Yeah.
I love my kids, but I'm not leaving them any money. That's their problem. So, for a goal to be exciting, it has to be your goal. But they're not willing to do it because they don't have the self-worth. So they need that, they need an edge. And I work with a lot of coaches who are really, really broke. In Bob Proctor's community, there's over 3,500 coaches. Uh, and there's only about 50 of us that make money. And not just because we're better people or better salespeople. No, because we understand what we do. We understand how to make this thing work. We accepted an idea. We're not stuck anymore. We got to stop the unstuck of the worry, the doubt, the fear, the overwhelm. It's not by hard work. It's not. Now, I want you to think of something. I want you to think of this big, juicy goal that you have. What's this big thing that, you really want to accomplish? It could be money. It could be a big house that you want on a beach somewhere. It could be a yacht. It could be a boat. It could be a relationship. Something big, something that you've never ever done. Now, think of that and put it in your mind, right? What does it look like? How big is it? How many doors? How many windows? Okay, that's what Bob was telling me. He said, "Why don't you think you have it, Kamal? Well, I haven't earned the money to buy the house I want. I haven't earned the money to have a yacht. I haven't earned the money to have a private plane. Well, why haven't you earned the money?" I said, "Because I don't know how." He said, "No, it's not because you don't know. It's because you don't want it yet." He said, "How badly do you want it? What are you willing to give to get it?" He said, "Willingly give and graciously receive." He said, "For you to receive these big gifts, this big income, you have to give at that frequency and vibration." I said, "What?" He goes, "Yeah." He said, "Right now, you're at this level. You're down here. You're living the hard work. You're not having enough. You're feeling you don't have enough clients. You work 10, 12 hours a day. Money runs away from you, but you definitely you want to be here. And all what you have to do, you have to change your frequency and vibration. How do I change my frequency and vibration? He said, that's all you have to do. He said, come on, we are here and everything we want is just higher than us. It's at a higher frequency and vibration. He said, everything is moving. And I think if you know any physics, quantum physics, I started studying. He said, everything is just a frequency and vibration. This phone was something else. This glass was sand before. So he said, you whatever you want is just at a different frequency and vibration. All you have to do, you have to think at that frequency and vibration and fuse with it. Why do you want this house so bad? Why do you deserve so much money? Why do you want this relationship? You have to fuse with the idea. And the reason you don't have it is because you're not taking enough action to get it, or you don't want it badly enough. Wow. Okay. So then he started teaching me about the mind. Well, before that, so we're living in physical life. We are part of a spirit and we have an intellect, and we need to use our intellect to get there, to get to this frequency and vibration. But we're living a physical life. And the more we become aware, the higher frequency and vibration we can be at. And that's how we can attract things to us. Still very confusing to me. I didn't really understand it. So now I'm going to teach you a bit about the mind. So then he came up with this picture. I have the statue here somewhere. It's in the box, but that's okay. So he said, look, this is the mind. Consider this to be the mind. I have to move this iPad because it's moving upside down. He said, this is the mind. And we're going to split it into two parts, conscious mind and a subconscious mind. And he said, this subconscious mind has 98% control of your results. And I said, is that what you mean when you say I'm running on automatic? He goes, yeah, that's exactly what I mean. You wake up, you do certain things. I bet you, DK and Tom, your family can probably predict what you do when you wake up. They know the sound that you do when you work on the house. They know how you turn the coffee machine on. They know if you're going to go to the gym. They can predict what you're going to do because you're running on automatic. So he said, I want you to think of the idea that you want. And we need to get it into the subconscious and make it automatic so that your body takes the right action to get to the right results. Until that happens, you are stuck at that level, the 100,000 level, 150,000 level, 200, whatever is your level. You could be in the $1 million level and you're stuck because you want 10 million, but you're stuck because your habit hasn't changed. So you got to change your habit. This 98% is all about habits. So what am I doing now? I'm building a habit of reaching out to 20 people a day. I'm building a habit of being nice to my team. I'm building a habit of sending good messages and posts. I'm building a habit of being willingly give, graciously receive. And I keep thinking of my idea. What is it that I want? He said, this conscious mind, this is where you have all your degrees. My Chem Eng, my master's in metallurgy, my MBA, my engineering. He said, it's all in your intellect. He said, it's not down here. He said, you haven't changed your programming. He said, your programming is back where you were in Lebanon. I get it. You got a degree, you got 2 degrees, and you got to a certain level, you got to 150, but you want more. I said, yeah, I want more. So the next level was to really imagine this next position for me because it's the closest. Imagine this next position and start imprinting it on this subconscious because this subconscious has 98% control. Now, you might accept this or you might say, this is baloney, this is bullshit. It's okay. Doesn't matter to me. But he said, once the idea is in the subconscious, It's now connected to universal intelligence. It's not up to you now. Because I was like, how the hell am I going to do this? He said, it's not up to you with the how. The how will come to you. Once it's in the subconscious, it's out of your hand. God will tell you what to do. God, Spirit, will tell you what's the next action to take to get the results that you want, to get you closer to your goal. And I've been working on this idea now since he passed away every day. Now, how do I work on it? How do I fuse this idea? How do I bring this idea from my conscious to my subconscious? He said, well, you need to use these things, the higher mental faculties, your memory, your intuition, your imagination, your perception, your reason, and your will. And he said, do you really believe you're worth $300,000 a year? Because if you don't believe it, you're not going to get it. Now, of course, I look at my results, and you can look at your results, Tom. You can look at your results, DK. If your results are not what you want, because your want is here. Let's say you want $1 million, but your results is 100,000. But you want 1 million. The reason your results are not 1 million is because you don't believe it. It took me a while to understand this concept. So now I have to believe what I want. And I have to make it part of my subconscious. Once my subconscious accepts the idea, game over. It has to happen. It's like the sun goes up, sun goes down, sun goes up, it has to happen. So I worked at it, and I worked at it, and I worked at it. It took me 2 more years before I got to the 250,000 base, 50,000 bonus, $300,000. I became a VP and GM of a large steel plant. $300,000.
Wow. Neat.
2 years.
Bruce Steel Plant, one that I know of, all the gin joints in all the world. Kamal worked at a place that I lived about 30 miles from. Too funny.
Crazy. Isn't it
It
crazy?
is crazy. It is crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Too funny.
It's
That's a neat story, man. That's cool, and that's proof in the pudding, man. Actions make results. Hey, real quick, under intuition, what does that say? What's the word under intuition?
on the Twitch says imagination.
Imagination.
Yeah, that's imagination. Then there's perception. Then there's reason. Then there's will. So these are the higher side of us: memory, intuition, imagination, perception, reason, and will. And this is a much better picture of the mind. There you go. So we have a mind. We all have this mind. That's what he said. He said, you already have it. You don't need to buy your mind. You just have to work it. You have to work this subconscious mind because this baby's got 98% control. Most of us get degrees and we just put it here. It just stays in the intellect. That's why there's accountants that are broke. There's bank managers that don't know nothing about money. They don't even have a job. How is it possible that somebody could have an MBA, a financial degree, and they're broke? Because they don't know how to influence their subconscious. They just have information. And information is for free. It's on Google. It's on ChatGPT.
That's right.
Once I learned that, I said, okay, I can up my goal now. So now I'm ready. Yeah, am I late to the party? It's never late. We all are where we are when we need to be. So now I'm convinced to the nth degree that I can make my annual in a month. And that's my goal. And I gotta tell you, DK and Tom, that last week, for the first time in 8 years since I met Bob Proctor, for the 1 week period, the 8 days, and I think I explained that the other day on one other call, over 8 days, if I do the math, over 8 days, the income that I generated, thanks be to God, I'm blessed. I made my annual in a month. Now, this has to carry on for the year to be real. But if I take, annual in a month over an 8-day period, in those 8 days, I did it. So that means my idea is taking hold. My idea is starting to stick. It's not easy. This work, Tom and DK, is not for the faint of heart. Like this is for the real serious people. This is for those who really wanna make a difference. In your income, in your life, in everything. Oh, where did it go? I don't know what I did. So I want to go to the any questions before I bring up the next subject of belief, because that's very important. I want to share with you the belief paragraph.
Yeah, I'll throw a question out at you.
Yeah, go for it.
How did that process feel as you were applying this stuff and going between the 150K to the 300K, where you got when you got the kind of the big desk, if you will.
At first, I was scared. I was like, this can't be true. When I got the letter, and I had 48 hours to accept. I was like, this can't be. So then I went back into my books, and I have all these books where I write my goals every day. It almost like you go into this little shock. And I said, no, relax. This is happening. This is real. So first you go into this little terror barrier, you go into this little shock because you're in that mode. Then you start reason with it, and then say, no, accept the idea. Just accept the idea. But remember, the higher you are on the food chain, the closer you are to the door. That's how it works in corporate America. So yeah, we might go to a higher position. You make that money, you're good, you're in that position, but it is still gonna scare you because now you have a lot more people to influence. You have a lot more people under your wing that you have to manage and do all that stuff. So it got scary for a little bit. I didn't ask Bob if I should accept or not. I just accepted. And then I just started showing up. Just started showing up. Started showing up. Started showing up. That's what I did.
That's awesome. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. Uh, so now I'm just convinced, and like I'm telling you, I'm 100% convinced that if I just believe the damn thing, if I just believe the darn thing, just accept the idea, stop resisting, my annual income will be in a month. Now, this is just money. When you move on this frequency, on this level of achievement, everything gets better. Your relationships get better, your conversation gets better, your partners get better, your kids get better. The whole 7 wheels of life, right? You start moving that way because you become more balanced. You become more, how do I say it? Let me get a little note paper here, right? So you're going from this level to this level. You're going from the physical to the spiritual, and you're using your intellect. This is where the memory is, intuition, reason, perception, will, and imagination. And as you learn how to use these, and I'm going to teach you how to do that if you come along, you are going to connect with your higher side. It's going to get easier and easier and easier and easier. Okay. But you just have to believe it. Now I just have to keep working my now. How do I work my belief? And I asked Bob that question. He said, Kamal, you haven't been listening. I said, I've been listening, Bob. He said, no, you haven't been listening. What's my story? What did I figure out after 9 years? I go back, I'm listening. Okay, which tape is that? Which CD is that? He said, after 9 years, I started working with Earl Nightingale and Lloyd in Chicago. What did I figure out? Because Bob was making $1 million and he had no idea how he was making it. He had to figure out how. He went from Toronto, Canada, which is, by the way, Tom, I was living 2 blocks away from Bob Proctor in Toronto. I didn't even know it.
You didn't know it? Wow, that's really crazy.
In 96, I was doing my engineering. I didn't know he was in North York, Toronto area. 2 blocks away was Bob Proctor. Till 20 years later, until I met him, because I probably wasn't ready. That's why. So I kept thinking, but he's always teasing us to kind of find out what I said. And he said, what's the number one thing I keep telling you what to do to get things right, to get the subconscious to reprogram? That, repetition. That's the secret. Auto-suggestion. Chapter 4 in Think and Grow Rich. What is the idea? And you have to keep repeating it, repeating it, repeating it, repeating it, repeating it again and again and again and again. And it's going to be like, oh, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm earning this money. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm strong. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm this. And whatever it is, you keep saying it and you have to persist, 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 persist. How many no's are you willing to take? Most salespeople give up after the second or third no. Most people give up after the second or third visit to the gym. January, February are known for gyms where people will just quit showing up. They get the most money in December, January, and then people they quit. They can't keep going. They can't persist. So he said repetition is the key. And that was the third level. That's what made my third manifestation happen, repetition. And I can teach you that. You can look up Think and Grow Rich, auto-suggestion, read that chapter, read that chapter, read that chapter, read that chapter. How many times? I don't care until the cows come home. Just read it, understand it. That's how you reprogram your mind. You have to repeat the same thing over and over and over and over and over until it happens. So now, what am I repeating? My annual income in a month. And I'm accepting the idea. I want to help 1,000 people. I'm about 100, maybe 85, maybe 90, 93, 94. But I'm so short of my goal. I want to help 1,000 people. I don't know how to do it. I got to attract a marketing genius to help me market. I don't know how to market. I know how to coach. I know how to teach. I can, do a little bit on Zoom, but I need to attract this thing into my life. How do I do it? I repeat my goal. Because I am not, don't kid yourself. I am not responsible for the how. God is. Spirit is. I just have to tell it what I want and I want to demand it. And I want the money and I want the clients and I want the service. And once I demand it with presence, God's going to give it to me. He has to, because I'm helping him create. I'm on a good mission. It has to happen. It's like Bob described it. He said it's like gravity. Gravity always works. If you go and jump off a building, guess what happens? You die.
No. Sure.
So let's finish with the belief, and then we'll continue more tomorrow with the questions. And all I want you to do tonight after this is to think of your goal. And tomorrow, same time, we'll talk about the goal and what could be the next step of what to do with that goal. But tonight, I'd like us to read this. This is basically the first lesson in how we teach in my book and in Bob's material that he shared with us, that we talk about belief. It took me going through this 3 times to understand this first page. So do I have a volunteer to read slowly this paragraph on belief? Who would like to read?
Go ahead, DK.
Got it. Yep. Absolutely.
Thanks.
Slow, nice and slow. Read it like as if you're embodying it and it's becoming you, right? I don't want it to rush. I want it to be like, and just give it to us. And we're going to be here with you.
Got it. Okay. Before you begin looking at the ABCs of goal setting, take a close look at your belief system or the beliefs of your group. It appears there are guards that have been commissioned by a higher authority to arrest any forward progress in a person's life beyond the person's level of belief. These guards take their marching orders from the belief system itself, which is governed by natural laws of the universe. There is no growth beyond the beliefs that are held. If a person attempts to accomplish something beyond their level of belief, the mind will quickly and automatically create ideas or reasons
justifying why it can't be done. And those ideas will continue to flow until the project is abandoned. On the other hand, when a person or group believes something can be done, the mind will automatically begin creating ideas that will prove the path to accomplishment or pave the path to accomplishment. The great secret of progress, then, lies in belief. Therefore, we must ask and demand answers to these questions. First, do I have good, sound reasons for my beliefs? Secondly, where did my beliefs come from? Third, would changing my beliefs improve my life? Fourth, how do I change my beliefs?
I love it. Thank you, DK. Beautiful. Take a
Nice
snapshot.
job, DK. Thank you.
Thank you. That
Absolutely.
was beautiful.
Oh, thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah.
You bet.
Take a picture.
It's like fresh water, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like fresh, icy water that feels refreshing, right? We'll get back to these questions. This is what I want you to work on for tomorrow. But let's go back here just a couple more minutes on this paragraph. See how powerful it is. So the ABCs of goal, and if you see anything of Bob Proctor, right, we need a C-type goal, something that you've never done, something that's much bigger than what you've ever accomplished, and you don't have, and it scares you and excites you at the same time. That's a C-type goal. So he said, take a look at your belief system or your group, because whoever's around you, like environment, is important. I feel very good when I'm beside my mentors because they've made $1 million a day. They've made $30 million and they're under 34 years old. They've been on stages with thousands of people, so it makes me feel good. So I'm beside them to grow my belief because their belief in me is making me move. It appears, look at this line. There are guards that have been commissioned by a higher authority to arrest any forward progress in a person's life beyond the person's level of belief. So if I'm not believing that I can earn this $1 million, the guards go up. It's like you're in jail. I'm thinking I'm in a cell. I'm around metal bars, and I'm in steel, right? So I'm in steel all around. It's just got me stuck because of my beliefs. Now, these guards take their marching orders from the belief system itself, which is governed by natural laws of the universe. And I'm going to teach you all that, the laws of the universe. There's 7 laws that you really need to know. I work with the laws right now. I'm obeying the laws. The more I obey the laws, the more prosperous I become, the better I feel, the easier it becomes. And look what he said. There is no growth beyond the beliefs that are held. Why did I miss this? This is page 2. It took me 2 years and I missed first page because I wasn't ready. I'm not stupid. I'm not dumb. I have 5 degrees. I can speak English, but I'm not getting it. And I want you to get it. You have to believe your goal. It's insane to believe that you can make your annual in a month. It's insane to believe that you can earn the worth of a car in a month, or you can travel to a place like $10,000 for a 2-week, weekend vacation. But you know what? You can do it if you want. You have to believe it. So if a person attempts to accomplish something beyond their level of belief, the mind will quickly and automatically create ideas or reasons justifying it can't be done. Why is it doing that? And he said, it's because it's protecting you. It's keeping you safe. You got here because your mind is guarding you. It's too scary out there. We don't know what's going to happen. It doesn't know. You just have to take control of it. Build enough discipline to go to this next level. And what is discipline? I said. And he said, discipline is giving yourself a command and following it. All right, give myself a command, I'm following it. I started doing it. Now, this belief, right? If you don't work with somebody to help you, the negative side will keep hitting you, until you abandon the idea. Ladies and gentlemen, this night, I have 2 clients. They're not here. one paid the half, one paid full price. They're not even here. Of course, they're
Are
scared.
you serious? Is
Very
that
serious.
right?
They
Wow.
paid. Now, why did they not show up, Tom?
Hey, because that's just what you said. This is really impactful what you said here. If you don't believe it, you will sabotage the results, man. It just won't happen. I'm
That's
sorry.
right.
I've been guilty of it myself.
That's right.
So yeah, I there's no excuse for somebody paying and not showing up unless they're scared shitless, excuse me,
Yeah.
unless they're frightened. Okay, I'm sorry. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
And it's real too. I mean,
It's real.
obviously it is.
I mean, it's I feel bad for them, but I'm like, guys, you gotta show up. You paid the money. Your imposter syndrome is so big, it's kicking you in the butt. You took the step. Now you have to get in the water and start doing the work.
It's even worse than fear.
Worse than fear.
Having experienced it personally, it's far more fundamental than fear.
Yeah. And it's exactly
What
the
holds them back? I've been held back the same way before.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that because it's so real, right? And if you sit down calmly with them and ask them, they will give you a good reason. Oh, I didn't show up because my daughter needed something. My boyfriend really needed me. I had to move somebody to some other house. Some freaking excuse. Whatever it is, it's not like I'm the most important person in the world. No, you are. You have to make it important. You have to get the discipline. What is discipline? Give yourself the command and follow it. We got to get this belief thing under control.
I love the command and follow it thing there. I really
Yeah.
do, man, because if you see it in your head and you envision it down the road, you know what you're doing tomorrow morning when you wake up. Okay, sorry, but you should anyhow. And I love the command thing, man. That's very tasty. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's exactly what it is. So I'm enjoying working with these two gentlemen that they just signed up in the last 30 days, and it's gonna test my growth as a coach as to how I bring them about, and because I'll eventually fire them, right? I mean, if they don't show up and if they don't follow the conditions, I'm not gonna waste my time because it's gonna.
No, I'm sorry, but you should give them some tough love, man. This
Yeah.
is a point that you need. You don't need to hold back on their feelings. And you say, "Hey, look, you paid me for my knowledge, and this is what I see in you folks, and this is why this is where I think's happening to you." And you could turn them around that way. They could go, "Hey, you're right. This guy knows me, okay? What you do." So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
Tell you how
no,
to do your
it's
job, but that's a
good.
good thing.
It's a very good thing. So I'm working with one of them, the second guy we have a meeting in 2 days. We're like, okay, what day are you on? He said, I'm on day 5. Okay, so I get him to do things in certain days, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and you have to build that momentum. You have to build that habit. And I want to grow it to at least a week, and then 2 weeks, and then 3 weeks. So on one of them, we're on day 5, but today it should be day 6, and he hasn't sent me stuff. So it's like I gotta get him to do it. I get him to believe in himself. He doesn't believe in himself enough to do it. So with that,
Good stuff.
now to get the belief right, I'm going to share with you tomorrow. We're gonna pick up from there. These are the questions. If you haven't wrote them down, I'm going to put them again on the screen. Take a snapshot. Think about them till tomorrow with regards to your goal. But something needs to happen for the belief to really work, and this has to do with decision. So we have to understand decision making to a different degree than we have ever done before. So don't worry about my answers. These are my points when I did this. Just look at these questions, right? Question 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the ones you want to answer for yourself with regards to yourself. And we'll talk about them tomorrow. But think about that. And tomorrow we will talk about more of the mind shift and the decision to grow. And if you're willing to pay the price, if you're willing to put yourself on the line, if you're willing to do some things you've never done before. Because guess what? For you to get to that next level, you're going to have to change some things.
No doubt.
You have to let go of something to bring something. Like for me to have a new phone, I'm going to have to get rid of this phone. I can't have two phones. I mean, I can, but what am I going to do with it? So you have to make space for the good that you desire. You're wanting stuff, but you're still attached to the old stuff. You have to let your old self die. The old Kamal died. The new Kamal is here. And you have to make a decision and stop going backwards. So most of us will make a decision, and I'm going to touch on that tomorrow, but sleep on that tonight. We make a decision and we go back. We make a decision and we go back. No, you have to cut it. That's it. And make a decision. I'm going to finish with a story. You heard the story of that sailor that came with his soldiers, and he got to the shore. It's like a Spanish, I think. And they made a decision that they're not going back. They have to fight this war, otherwise they're dying. So what did he do? He burnt the boats. Burnt the boats. There was no going back. They were either going to fight and win the war, or they were going to die. They burnt the boats. And guess what? They won the war. It's the same thing with the Declaration of Independence for the United States. When they sat down in their room with Abraham Lincoln and all these, I forgot all their names. They closed the door and they wrote the amendments. They were willing to die for the United States to be created. That's the kind of decision that I'm talking about. So and it might seem like, oh, so far it is that real, especially if it's a big goal. I'm not talking about 2% increase in pay. I'm not talking about an extra $10. I'm talking about real big, juicy stuff. So that's what I had for you tonight. These are the questions. Thank you for showing up. You committed, you took the first step.
Great job, man. I really appreciate your time tonight, guy. I'm telling you, you inspired me. And I hope, DK, you got some good stuff from that too as well.
100%. And probably the best part about this was meeting you, Tom, as well.
Well, hey, DK, where are you at?
Such a pleasure. I'm out of Houston.
Oh, wow. Okay, great. Yeah, I'm in Southern California, and it was really good to meet you too. And we'll connect.
SoCal.
For sure.
Great to meet you.
Yeah, we'll connect, exchange numbers, do that, and that's the whole point. See how we can help each other grow, and if you know anybody that can benefit, if you know somebody that's not up to where they need to be, they want to be inspired, just share the link with them, and have an amazing night, huh? Be blessed.
Good stuff, guys. Thanks, man. Good stuff. Have a great night. Take care.
See y'all soon.
You too, DJ. You bet.